Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome on the smart woman. Now, this is not the same show, Darine. Stand out from the crowd with me, your host, Darine BenAmara. And this is the LinkedIn live stream show dedicated to helping you, professional entrepreneurs, leaders, to stand out from the crowd and to make your mark on this planet. And every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I welcome a standout guest that shares who shares her or his stories, their best tips, their experience, and basically provide you, the things, the real things, the real deal, the real tips, actionable tips that you need to implement in order to stand out from the. And today we are going to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart, which is career pivoting and personal branding after 40. Recently, I have been receiving a lot of messages, a lot of DMs from young women who are in their 20s, 24, asking me if they are too young to build a personal brand and, to start standing out from the crowd. But it reminded me actually when prior to the pandemic, when I was working face-to-face with clients, some of them were senior managers, some of them were in their late 40s, 50s. And I remember having this conversation with them where they would tell me, but I'm too old, I wish I knew it before. If I was 10 years younger, I would have done it. But now, what's the point? And I disagree 100%. I disagree 100%. Okay. And so our standout guest today is Valerie Mekki. But before I bring her on board, let me show you something. If you want to start building your personal brand the right way, then the link is in my bio. Download your Stand Out from the Crowd 5 steps blueprint to build your personal brand. Okay, you want to do it the right way. Okay, so click the link in the comment and let's get started. Now, welcome, Valerie. Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Darine, for having me.
Oh, that's such a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, actually, to have a conversation with you. How are you doing?
Wonderful. I'm from LA. It's very hot and warm here, and I can't wait to have this discussion. If I could just answer when these young women are asking you, should I start my personal brand? I would say, hell yes. I wish I did. Honestly.
All right.
Earlier.
But it's never too late. And I like your motto, actually. You say never too late to start something new. Age is just a number, people. And I feel, so let's get started. I feel like aging is taboo for women. So what was your experience? Or did you see, and we are still young. I'm in my 30s, you are in your 40s. And
yep.
we are still young, fresh and beautiful and smart and talented and very competent. And we have a lot to contribute to this world. And I shared this anecdote with you, Valerie. I remember when I was in university making my plan, my career plan, my life plan, actually everything would stop at 30. And when I hit the 30-year-old mark, I panicked and I cried. I cried for months and months and months, and especially on my birthday month, because I was like, oh shoot, I'm turning 30. I have never thought what life would be, or I never thought there would be life after 30. I didn't have any plan, and most importantly, I had not achieved everything by the age of 30, and I thought I was done. And then I realized that, okay, in my 30s, I started to feel much more comfortable, much more confident, in my skin, being me, doing the stuff that I wanted to do. And as I was telling you, like, I'm sure when you get into your 40s, it's even better.
It's even better. You have more wisdom, you lived life, and you just have a lot of more introspective moments. And that's what happened with me, especially during the pandemic. It gave us some time to quiet down our thoughts and to really ask yourself some questions.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about your professional journey. I know you had three pivoting career moments in your
Yeah.
life, which is cool. Listen, on the Smart Women Roundtable on Monday, one of the guests had six like pivoting career moment in her career. So three is not that bad yet. It's not that
It's
bad.
not even bad because we're growing. If we're not evolving, if we're not moving, then we're then what are we here for, right? So we have to give ourselves some grace and some honesty to ourselves and ask ourselves, we only have this finite moment on this earth. Like, what are we going to spend our time doing? So in my 20s, I was in the fashion industry. I loved fashion ever since I was little. I was very determined to get in the industry, and I did. But I ended up on the wrong side of it, or the side that I was not my first choice, which is on the
Mm.
manufacturing side. And so that was the only job that I can get when I first started my career in the fashion industry. But I took advantage of it. I learned everything about manufacturing, and what caught the attention of the buyer that I was reporting, or where I would work with. He's like, you have something here. The manufacturing side of the company was moving down to Southern California, and he asked me to be his assistant buyer. And then that was my big first pivotal pivot. So went from manufacturing to the buying side, and I stayed in that job for over 18 years.
Oh
It was like a
wow.
combination of like product development and production, and where I learned my foundation of my career. It was like priceless because that got me my foot in the door, and to get me recognized by a buyer to say, hey, you have something here that other buyers can't offer. They didn't understand manufacturing. So I would
Wow.
say is like every moment that makes you stand out, you should definitely take advantage of it and leverage it. I didn't know at the
Mm.
time. I didn't until now, looking back in hindsight, I'm like, oh, that was a pivotal moment. I stood out because I had something unique to share that was different from any other assistant buyers that he ever worked with.
And actually, I love what you're saying with what you are sharing with us, because you said, it was a pivotal moment and it was an opportunity for me to stand out, but I didn't leverage it. And I feel like, and maybe it's changing now, and I would love to
Mm-hmm.
hear your perspective on this. I feel like when you have those pivotal moments in your career, most of the time we perceive it as a negative thing. Okay, oh, what did I do wrong? Did I waste my time? I got laid off, I got fired, I'm not aligned with what I do, so what's wrong? And I feel like the negative aspect like comes up first, when actually this is an opportunity for you to stand out, to showcases that you are multi-talented, that you have transferable skills, which was the case in your situation, to showcase who you are as a person who is evolving, as a professional who is growing. So what would you have done differently back in time if you knew all the things about personal branding and how to use it to stand out from the crowd?
I think the one thing that I have learned about myself was how to speak up and to be my biggest cheerleader and to share that with people. I didn't do that for a very long time, especially even in the corporate world. That's actually one time I lost a promotion because I didn't speak up during meetings. And so I had to get past my fears of speaking in front of in meetings, that took time. So I wish that I owned my power, and
Mm-hmm.
that I recognize that I have something of value to share and bring to the table. So
Yes,
I
right.
so and that's what you get in your 40s. You get that
Yeah.
reflection like, dang it, I wish I would have known. So if I can share any wisdom to your audience is take inventory of your power now
And own it.
and own it.
So what
Yeah,
makes it easier to own it in your 40s?
gosh. I think because for me, I have survived through a lot, and survived is the key word here, right?
Mm.
So you've moved past it. Nothing happened, nothing detrimental. Everyone still has a roof over our head. Like everything is still standing still. It's fine. So if you've survived that moment, then challenge yourself and do it again.
Oh, right? It shows
Mm-hmm.
that how much, actually, it's about resilience,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Definitely. Yes.
Okay.
And we've done that over the last year.
And so then there was another pivotal moment in your career life. Tell us more.
Mhm. Yes. So I would say the next pivotal moment happened to me last year when, well, I, this is my second layoff. My first layoff, I think at that time, and this is just my opinion, I was in the industry, fashion industry for already 18 years. My heart wasn't even into it anymore. I was very burnt out. It didn't bring me the energy and like the joy it used to bring. It was a
Mm,
job. I was the main breadwinner in their family. I definitely was only doing it for money, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it if you have responsibilities. But then I ended up getting laid off. So then I decided to open my own business and try the entrepreneur thing. So I opened a interior design, home staging business. I did that for 2 years, but then I realized like this is hard. Being an entrepreneur is really hard. You really challenge yourself. There is not a moment during that period, and still to this day, where I had a business book and a personal development book, because it challenges you as a solopreneur, because you don't have a team behind you. You don't have that infrastructure. You only have yourself. So when my husband decided to open his own business, I was like, well, I'm gonna close my business. We both can't be business owners. So it was my secret way of exiting. But
okay.
secretly, I I exited not because really was for our family. I exited because it was just too hard. I wanted to just go back into a corporate life and just put my head down and just work. But then
Okay.
when I did that, I ended up getting laid off a year and a half later. So that job security that we think that we have with the company, it could be a false positive.
Right. Right. So did you get laid off because of the COVID-19 or it was
Yes,
before? Okay.
I got laid off at the height of the COVID-19.
Okay. So now we are amid COVID-19. You get
Mhm.
laid off. What's
Mhm.
going on in your mind?
I mean, for me, I'm a high performer. So the first thing I do is like, I'm going to go find a job. There was like no jobs available at the beginning of the pandemic, especially
Mhm.
not in the fashion industry. And I was being rejected over and over again. And I honestly, if I had to look back, I wish I didn't go straight into job search mode. I really should have reassessed, give myself some time and grace to like take in the layoff and really ask the question of what do I want to do next? Do I want to go back into the industry? I didn't even really like it. So what
Oh,
do I want to
wow.
do next?
Okay. And so when did you realize that, okay, this is a pivotal moment, another one,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
let's follow my passion and, let's follow, because now you're an entrepreneur again.
I know. I was like kicking and screaming, but this time it's different. The reason why it's different this time is because I'm doing it for myself. The last time I tried to open a company or a business, it was because, oh, this is going to be easy. I can do this. Like I merchandise stores, I can merchandise homes. There was no passion behind it. I was just trying to follow my transferable skills wherever it landed me. And it was fine for 2.5 years. It wasn't a bad business at all, but I wasn't passionate about it. This time around, I started my blog and it really came out of love and passion. I actually started the blog because it was a way, I didn't know at the moment that I was building my personal brand. I actually wanted to start a blog to show my future employer that I can stay digitally relevant.
Mm.
So I was just going to write about like project management, which is like the most boring subject, right? Like who's going to go to that website? But then, was a stunning fact that came out during the pandemic, which was close to 3 million women in the US had lost their jobs during the
Wow.
pandemic. And I was one of them. So
Mm-hmm.
I turned the blog into something where in some way, can I help in any way, shape, or form, just put content out there about how to find a job, how, how to start a side hustle, anything in that way I can help. And that side project turned into a passion project that now has turned into my full-time passion and business.
Wow. So before we continue, let's take a look at the comments from our audience. We have Azad Hossein who says, very good. Emma Zibri who says, thanks for sharing, right? You are not too old, you are not too young. You do you, and
Yes.
stand out from the crowd. Use your experience. Rolis Fontano, our friend, says, so good seeing you guys on Valerie Mekki and Darine. Thank you, Rolis. And he says, then I think you were in survival mode when you got laid off and immediately started looking. I was in the same boat years ago too.
Mm-hmm.
It is how we are
Mm-hmm.
programmed. That's true.
Yeah.
And actually, I was listening to a podcast this morning where the person was saying, like, when you are in university, in school, in university, we don't teach you those things. We tell you, okay, you get good grades, you have your degree, you enter the workforce, and this is it. And then you quickly realize that nope, this is not it at all. And you like, what do I do? So you want to go back to what you have learned is what you should be doing, right? And so, and then you repeat the pattern and you repeat the pattern. And I believe it takes a couple of, pivotal moments, setbacks, failures, like lessons learned, this kind of stuff that hurts to your core to realize, but hold on, wait a minute here. There may be other solutions. There may be an alternative. Maybe I'm passionate about this. Maybe I can create a job out of it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to fit into. And as Rolly says, and I do believe that was maybe for you, the last time it was enough. The last time you got laid off and you were enough, and you realized that, okay, you know what? I'm not the only person facing this situation. I'm not the only person suffering from this. I have a talent, I have a gift, which is writing. And I'm going to use it to make an impact, to make a difference, and to inspire other people. And you said something that is very, very important, people. I hope you note it. She wanted to start a blog to communicate about project management, but then she shifted. But here the key, she wanted to stay digitally relevant. And this is the key here, to stand out from the crowd, to stay and to remain digitally relevant. So now tell us more about your passion and how you turned this blog into expressing your passion, and you started to get noticed by media outlets and all of this. So tell us how was the experience?
I mean, the experience so far has been amazing. And listen, everyone, I just started less than a year ago. And I think we're living at this really incredible time where we have all these amazing digital tools in front of us. We have the only two things that you need to do your passion project and monetize on it, because you mentioned that before in your comment before. And this is what I write about in my blog, Oh Hello Work Life, because I want people to realize that they have access right at their fingertips. The only two things that you really truly need in order to monetize a passion project is you need to figure out some way of self-publishing yourself, right? So my medium is a blog. So I write, I blog, I self-publish. You can do a podcast, you can do newsletters, any way to put a long form content out there, go ahead and do it.
And live streams. Live stream
and
is
live
my
streams
medium.
Yes. And then the second part of it is being present on a social media platform. So you need a place to publish your authority, and then you need a place to build your personal brand. Those are the only things that you need, and you can see where it takes you. For me, it brought me to being interviewed by NPR, National Public Radio Station here in the US. I was featured on an NBC segment about career pivoting. And that's only just because I just focused on my craft of writing and putting value out there. People will start to notice. But those are the two things that I encourage everyone to look into, is a long form content and a short form content.
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't have to create double content here. Let me give you, and we discussed a little bit about it before going
Mhm.
live. Like, let's say you do a live stream, right? Or you record a podcast. So this would be your long form content.
Yes.
And then you can cut this long form content into shorter form of content. So
Mhm.
basically, with one content, you can create multiple content, right? So the long form content that you cut off into small pieces,
Yep.
and you can even write an article out of your live interview or video. You can also create a podcast just by downloading the audio. So you don't have to kill yourself over creating content. And that's something that I coach all my clients on when it comes to content creation, because oh, but what am I going to say? I don't know what I'm going to say. And will people judge me? And I don't have time. And I'm like, listen, you don't need to kill yourself over it. It can be very, very simple with one shot, one video, no matter what the format is. Then you can cut it off into micro pieces of content, being audio, written. And that's what I do, for example. When I used to do video recording before I started the live streams, like the script that I had for my videos, I will put it as a blog, as an article on my blog.
That's right.
That's it. That's all, right? So you don't need to kill yourself over it in order to create good quality content and to stand out from the crowd.
Absolutely. And I also want to say is that you should find wherever you feel comfortable in. If you want to write about knitting, if you want to talk about your cooking, that all is relevant to your personal brand, right? Like you just have to find whatever you feel most comfortable in, because that is going to build that consistency. I feel comfortable empowering women. Like that's my jam. I love it. And I know that's yours too. That's why I'm
Yeah.
attracted to you. That's when I started reading and picking up on your post, Doreen, on LinkedIn, because
Oh,
you
thank
will attract your tribe. You really will. And I know it's
you.
such a
Do.
cliche, but everyone, like I started watching Dorine's videos before became more present on LinkedIn. Her energy and her words just really moved me and inspired me. So just take that as you can just take an inspiration from someone else and do it yourself.
Exactly. And thank you so much for your kind words. I
It's a
appreciate it.
true story.
But you know, it like for me it's priceless, because this is exactly why I do
Mhm.
what I do. And here Rolly says so true about repurposing content. You
Yeah.
are a master at it, Darine. Thank you,
Yes.
Rolly. um yes, and so you know, and we have a connection in common, Shara. And actually,
Mhm.
her thing, to get to your point, is to showcase these videos of her cooking. Right? She loves
Yes.
cooking. She cooks a lot for her family and
Yes.
for her kids. And she will be like, "Hey guys, I cooked this tonight," and you know, and then she will share a story. She's really, really good at this. She will share a story, what happened during the day, or an experience she had with a client, or something that happened, right, while she is cooking for her family. And this is how
Mhm.
she started building your personal brand, right?
Yep.
And then afterwards, so 1 year later, she developed her own business, and so now she has more content. She keeps like recording her daily videos with her son, actually, or
Mhm.
cooking in the kitchen, but she will also showcases the results that she gets from her for her clients, right?
Yep.
And so to get to your point, like it can be anything that you are passionate about. I know there is this misconception. It was maybe true in the past that LinkedIn was strict. It was like a career resume, whatever, whatever. But now
Yeah.
it's the platform to help you stand out from the crowd and to build your personal brand. So, and a personal brand is personal. You
Mhm.
know, there is different components to your personal brand, and I'm not gonna talk too much about it today. That's not the purpose, but just for you to understand, like you have the personal aspect of your personal brand, which is who you are as a person, and there is the professional aspect of your personal brand, which is like what you do at work, what's your expertise, what's your talent, and so on and so on, and how you make an impact in people's life, in your organization, and so on and so on, right? So if you don't feel comfortable, start with what you know the best. Okay, and if for you it's going on a walk, and I know Rollis as well, and I do it also, I would record video when I'm on my morning walk, right? Because I meditate, because I think about you, because I'm like, hey, I could record this and share it with my community, and I'm on my walk outside. And this is it. It doesn't have to be complicated, people. Keep it simple.
That's right. And like what we were talking about earlier in the beginning of the show is own your power. If I would have known that back in my 20s, I don't know what I would have accomplished, to be honest with
Oh,
you. But
wow.
now that I am
Agree.
owning it in my 40s, everyone, I think the number one reason why people don't create content is because they always say to themselves, I'm no one special. I don't have a story to share. It's absolutely wrong. You do have a story to share. Don't ever doubt or discount what your story is, because you may think it's ordinary, but someone around the world, right, or down the street could think it's extraordinary.
Very true. And you don't have to have like something crazy that has happened to you to start sharing your story. And actually, the more regular, I don't know if that's the right word.
Relatable.
Exactly, the more relatable you are. And that's what people want. And there is a question from Rollis for you, Valerie. What made the difference for you the second time versus the first time? Was there a catalyst? That's a good question.
That is a good question. I think they came in different parts for me. In the second time was during pandemic. It gave us some time of quiet and some time to really ask the question of, okay, what do we want to do next? Because it's not guaranteed. That time was very scary, I think, for a lot of us. For me, myself, couldn't even step outside the door.
Wow.
So where I'm going to spend the rest of 10 more years in something that I'm settling, I'm okay with, because it didn't get me that far. Or do I want to double down on myself and do something that I could be proud of, my children can be proud of? That was a big catalyst for me this time around, is asking those defining questions and being honest with yourself.
Yeah, right. And did you have any concern about, okay, I have been doing I have been in the fashion industry, either being retail or design for 20 years and more. And now I'm pivoting completely 360, doing something that I love, that I'm passionate about. Were you concerned at some point by the way the people in your network will perceive you? Would they judge you? Was it something that put you on the fence of putting yourself out there?
Yeah, that's the stories that I told in my head. But once I started posting, the comments that I would get back from the people in the industry, it was just so touching and moving. They kept saying, keep sharing your story, because I'm feeling the same way. I'm not brave like you to post it, but I'm in the same boat as you. So you know how they say, ask the question. There's someone else in the room that's probably going to ask the question. They are too afraid to say it. It is so true when it comes to building your personal brand and putting yourself out there. If you have the courage to put yourself out there, you're actually not alone. There's probably hundreds of people who feel the same way, but you could stand out from the crowd and be the first one to just put it out there.
100%. And you would be surprised, actually, how by you stepping up, taking that leap of faith, taking that first step, and to stand out from the crowd, you would be surprised how you will inspire other people, and how people will DM you, hey, because you did it, I'm considering doing it, because you did that, or because of this video. Or you have no idea how many times I receive DMs from other women who are like, wow, because of this post, I changed my career. Because of this post, I made a big decision. And I remember one day I hosted a masterclass, and after the masterclass, I will never forget this DM. A lot of DM, but this one, the lady, she left me actually a voice note, and she told me, listen, after your masterclass, I gave my resignation letter to my boss because I was so inspired. But what I think it was a masterclass on personal branding and positioning on LinkedIn. But to her, like it opened up her eyes and the door to so many opportunities that she was like, no, the same day I gave my resignation letter, and now I want to follow my dream, I want to follow my passion, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I was like, wow. So you never know how one piece of content, just one piece of content, can impact and change people's lives. And that's the beauty of it.
That
And I'm
is
sure
the
you
beautiful part of it.
receive DMs like this as well.
Yes, and that's the energy that I receive to keep going, because there
Yeah,
are challenging times when you are career
of
pivoting.
course.
You are up against, financial needs of the family for myself. But those moments really just help propel me and fuel me to keep moving forward, and knowing my name is assigned to something and I'm working towards it. I mean, you think that people have things figured out? You're wrong. I don't think anyone
No.
has
Nope.
things figured out. Right?
Nope. Nope.
But you got to take a step forward and just do it.
Exactly. So we are hitting already the 30 minutes mark. Time flies, like, and when you have such a
Yeah,
crazy, like, amazing, inspiring conversations, like it goes even like faster. So what
faster.
would be, you have shared so many tips, and gold nuggets with us
Yeah.
today. And for you watching the replay, because I know a lot of people watch the replays, leave your comment and question down below in the comments. We read and answer all of them. So what
Yeah.
would be your key takeaway, your takeaway to conclude this conversation?
I would say that it really is never too late to start something new. And I don't mean it in a way where you have to make a complete career pivot. I learned my lesson that I wish I had something on the side while I was in my corporate career.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anything that I can share, another piece of nugget for anyone who's feeling maybe a little stuck right now in their career, it doesn't mean that you have to make a total leap off the cliff. Just start building your content online now on the side. You have a hobby, you have something to share, start building up and start sharing that with the world, because you never know who's watching and you never know where that could lead to. So create your own opportunities if you don't see a new opportunity in front of you.
Wow, that's powerful. I really hope it inspires you and motivates you to take action. And our friend says, great show, ladies, inspiring. Thank you so much, Valerie, for your willingness to share so much with us. I love your vibes, your energy, always smiling in your videos, always smiling, always positive. And I simply love it. And I appreciate you and I respect you for all the great work that you do to support and empower other women through your story. So Valerie, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Darine.
And for those of you also who want to get started building your personal brand, but you are confused, you don't know where to start, you don't want to mess things up, then look at the link in the comment. Download, it's a free download, the Stand Out from the Crowd 5-step blueprint to build your personal brand, to find the answers, the right answers to what will allow you to set up a strong base actually for your personal brand. Okay, the link is in my bio, I'm on Instagram mode. The link is in my comment. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to reach out to Valerie. So Valerie, before I wrap up, last thing, like how do you help people and where can they contact you if they want to learn more about you?
Well, always here on LinkedIn, right? Like, this is my jam. This is where I spend most of my time. It's my social media platform. So you can find me, Valerie Mekki. And then also go ahead and check out the blog, subscribe to it, because every week I post an article. Last week I posted an article that anyone could be a content creator. Anyone, and you don't have to dance in a video to be a content creator. So go ahead and check.
Point. That's a valid point. You don't have to dance on videos.
Nope. So go ahead and check that out and check out Oh Hello Work Life.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. And oh, yes, Valerie, please don't forget to leave the link to your website in the comments so people can click on it. And wonderful. So you have a wonderful day in Los Angeles.
Yes,
Enjoy.
thank you.
And we stay in touch then. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.